I hope you're not pressed for time this morning because you'll want to get all 30 minutes of part 2 of Steve Robertson, president of Waccamaw Publishers, coming up next. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Conway Area Chamber of Commerce at 203 Main Street at the foot of the bridge in historic downtown Conway. We're focused on improving production and printing, part 2. And we're visiting again with the president of Waccamaw Publishers, Steve Robertson. Good morning, Steve.
Nice to see you again.
Thanks for coming back in again on a Thursday morning.
My pleasure.
Early again, and of course to see us in here, as we said yesterday, this magnificent lobby. You've obviously spent a lot of time in here, haven't you?
Yes, the Chamber of Commerce has been a great partner with our publications over the years, and we try to work hand in hand to promote Conway as a great place to work and live and to play.
I see y'all are in partnership, or y'all have been actively helping to produce and put together Information Please, an annual publication of the Conway Area Chamber of Commerce, which is a tremendous publication.
Right. Well, thanks. This was something we started, I think, about 5 years ago. Right. At the time, the only thing the Chamber had to pass out to visitors and people making inquiries about the area was a couple of mimeograph sheets, stapled together. Oh, yeah. And it didn't really paint a very pretty picture of Conway. Right. So in conjunction with the Chamber, we used our resources to put together a magazine that really reflects just what a great community we have and gives visitors just a load of information that they will find useful if they were to visit or relocate to Conway. It
is a very handsome publication. We think about, of course, we've got a number of your other publications, reviewers who weren't with us yesterday. Obviously, you shared with us that you and your wife Cheryl and some others earlier on in 1980 launched the Orient Independent here, right in the heart of Conway, and then later bought out your partners in 87, expanded in 85 with another weekly publication, the News and Shopper, buying a publication in 97, and of course the big thrill that we talked about yesterday but ran out of time, the launch of a new publication just last year, literally 7-8 months ago. Share with viewers what prompted you to launch a new publication, and share with us a little bit about what it's all about, the Carolina Force Chronicle.
Okay. Well, I guess it's no secret that we've seen this tremendous growth take place between Conway and Myrtle Beach in the Carolina Forest area. Originally, we were thinking about just trying to expand the Orient Independent into that area and cover that community with our independent. But it became pretty obvious to me that this is a community that doesn't have real close roots to Conway. And actually has an identity of its own, Greg, and a very distinct identity. They have their own grocery stores, their own banks, their own restaurants. It's a little community within itself, and actually it's a fairly large community. Oh, yeah. The zip code has about 13,000 households and businesses. Is that right?
13,000 households and businesses in the 29579.
Right. And 10 years ago, I don't think there was anything there.
Wow, yeah.
So the numbers were there, the demographics were good. We did our research. We did a survey about a year ago. We actually went out and talked to business people and folks in the community and asked them if they thought the area was ready for a newspaper of its own.
Great.
And we got a lot of affirmative responses there. And based on that market research, we launched our first edition in November. We really didn't know what to expect. It was a kind of a risky venture. Right. But we found out rather quickly that our market research was right on.
Oh, yeah.
And we fill the paper with news and stories and items of interest that are targeted at that 29579 zip code.
Right.
And what we found out was that people really liked hearing more about their communities. And, I think we really hit a nerve there. And I think we started off with 24 pages, and now we're into 5 sections and 52 pages.
No way. Started off at 24 pages and now more than doubled that.
More than doubled, and
And 5 sections. My Lord.
Right. And we've increased our circulation. We recently partnered with Myrtle Beach Direct Air, and now we're putting the Chronicles on all of their incoming flights.
So all your advertisers, which is wonderful, you've got quite a few of them, benefit from an additional 2,000-3,000 that are going out to Myrtle Beach Direct Air flights. That's one, and they fly all up and down the East Coast throughout the country.
Yeah, they have a dynamic little airline going there, and really convenient for folks who are going to certain locations, you know.
Oh yeah, much like the old Hooters Air that really stepped out of Myrtle Beach to do something big, and Bob Brooks and all those folks worked hard to set the stage for Myrtle Beach Direct Air to really grow fast.
But we're very excited about our Carolina Forest product, and of course I have to give Michael Smith, the editor, a big pat on the pat for the hard work he does.
Right.
And you know, we're kind of in a depressed economy right now, so we're hoping that when things turn around, there'll be even more growth.
Oh yeah, that's a great area. And of course, International Paper having done and had a very successful venture there at Carolina Forest, they're trying to get something else rolling. I believe Carolina Station.
Right.
They're thinking about other opportunities throughout the county, which may be another niche opportunity, another weekly coming out of Waccamaw Publishers, possibly down the road, which is very exciting. And as you think about great areas, Conway, Laura's Scene, and that is another, am I correct, it's something that you direct mail into that community, or it had been at one time?
Actually, we started off as a free paper and then went to a paid circulation paper.
Okay, right, sure. So just that idea between free and paid. You know, we've seen, I think the Chronicle's the first example that I'd seen that done very well as a free publication. I never knew that there were great looking free publications out there other than the News and Shopper, which I guess, is that free as well?
The News and Shopper is free.
Right, yes, which is a very handsome publication, but nothing like the Carolina Forest Chronicle.
Right. Well, it's an industry trend, Greg. What we have found out over the past few years was that if you put out a paper and it's really a paper and not just you throw together, you know, with a few classified ads, but if you have your news content, your photos, editorials, pictures, the whole 9 yards, that it doesn't matter to people if they pay for it, if they get it free. I think most would prefer to get it free.
Oh yeah.
And but what we really found that makes this business model successful is that the advertisers love getting this paper in every home and every business and every apartment.
Guaranteeing it.
That's right.
Yeah. I love it.
And they don't mind paying a little bit extra for their advertisement to get their message into the people's hands.
Yes.
And you know, it's gotten to the point now, a few years back, if you said free circulation paper, an image got in your mind of something that's rather shoddy. Right. But in recent years, I think there's been big improvements. And just last year, the South Carolina Press Association had started admitting free papers into its membership.
Great. So that had not been the case for a long time.
Oh, no. Before you had to be a paid circulation newspaper to become a member.
Right. Could you, and you still have to be at least a weekly, to join the South Carolina Press Association, or could you be a bi-weekly or a...
I'm pretty sure that it's a weekly publication schedule.
So that's a great opportunity for folks who, we had the publisher of a publication in Marion and Darlington and Florence with us about 3 months ago, who does a free publication that targets zip codes. I can't remember his name, or I'm sorry to say those publications. You may know him, and a fascinating gentleman who bought a publication there in Florence a few years ago, and of course free has been the way for him.
Sure.
And they do a lot of great local news in the communities, but as you said, you've got to be able to guarantee to advertisers that you're reaching every home there, and that's a great thing. So you all deliver all of those publications to one central, the post office there in Carolina Forest, and they get it out to everybody.
Yeah, that's very convenient for us. Dealing with carriers can be a nightmare at times because all kinds of things can happen in the delivery process. So we like the fact that we can just take 4 or 5 skids of papers to the Carolina Forest Post Office, drop it off, and then they've been doing a great job with delivery.
That is fantastic, Steve. Well, you know, we talked yesterday and we looked at some of the great pictures you had of the new Orient web. Share with viewers just real quick about that process, if you don't mind, about putting the paper together. How do you all, you got to buy a lot of materials. What are the major pieces that are put together that you have to purchase to put a paper together?
Sure. Well, it is a very labor-intensive and supply-intensive industry, as you probably are aware. But we buy our paper in big rolls.
Right.
They're about 800 pounds each.
Okay.
And we buy 2 truckloads a month with our publication.
Wow.
Yeah. We also buy ink, lots and lots of ink,
The
and
old
50
phrase,
pound
buy the
drums.
barrel. Yeah.
Also, you have to have your film and plates and all types of other things to actually implement the printing process. One of the really nice things, though, that's happened during my career is the fact that we've gone from doing a lot of the layout manually to actually doing it on the computer.
Oh, yeah.
And that's really revolutionized our industry.
Yes.
Desktop publishing is the word for it, and it really is. We do everything on the computers now as far as assembling content.
And you can compare and contrast. So back in 1980, or even your earlier years as the sports editor of another publication, or then there at the Field and Herald,
Yeah.
Back since 1980, I mean, or even that early, you were laying everything out by hand.
Absolutely. And in fact, I'm going to date myself here, but I remember when it was done on linotype machines and the type was actually set in lead.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
Steve.
So I've seen many advancements in this industry.
Yes. That must be exciting for people like yourself who've been in the industry long enough to see those advances and to think, can it get any better than it is now than desktop publishing? Is there anything that would be more advanced than that, or it's about as far as it can go? I guess back in when you started, whatever year that was, to think back that far, you probably never imagined getting to something like this.
Well, I didn't, and I'm not sure where it's headed. I know that the internet's going to play a big part of how people receive their news in the future. I don't think it's going to happen in my lifetime, but somewhere down the road there's going to be a paperless society.
Oh, don't say it, Steve.
And,
yeah.
Rather than getting your newspaper delivered in your mailbox, you're just going to flip open some type of device and read it in the palm of your hand, possibly.
I can't fathom that, Steve, and I'm sure you can't, having been in it this long, but particularly because it seems like that would open the door to lots of groups. I mean, the idea of having true journalists who are really making a difference, who are putting it together in print publications, and then those publications, those groups just recycling it on the web, as opposed to the potential concern that you wouldn't have. I mean, you'd have lots of bloggers, for instance, putting the news together, albeit that can be very positive as well, but still wanting to make sure there's journalists that are out there that are very objective and doing the kind of things. I know one of your claims to fame is that idea of in your lobby, there was formerly 1, now 2 great plaques there. Share with viewers real quick the significance of that and part of the reason why journalism is truly so important.